in the last few minutes, we've had some breaking news from the Israeli Prime Minister's office. Of course, we've been covering the developments here on the ground, a ceasefire deal that was agreed last night by both Israel and Hamas. The Prime Minister's office has now issued a statement saying the deal is on pause. They've said Hamas is backing out of the understandings and creating a last-minute crisis that prevents a settlement. Hamas is backing out of the explicit understandings agreed upon with the mediators and Israel in a last-minute blackmail attempt. Israel will not set a date for a cabinet and government meeting until the mediators announce that Hamas has approved all the details of the agreement. As we've been reporting, the Israeli cabinet were due to meet this morning to agree to this settlement, to this ceasefire deal. In the last few minutes, Hamas has now issued a statement saying that they adhere to the agreement of last night. Let's bring in the Israeli government spokesperson, David Mencer, who joins me now. And David, you and I spoke in the last hour and a half. You were cautiously optimistic, but you said that this agreement was necessary for peace in the region, for peace for the Israeli people as well as Palestinians, to end this bloodshed. In the last few minutes, we've had this statement from the Israeli Prime Minister. Hamas has now come out and said that they agree and adhere to the agreement from last night. What on earth has happened in the last few minutes?
Yes, Yalda. Look, let's make one thing clear. Israel wants this agreement to move forward, but even last night, and it seems this morning as well, everything is not quite as clear as we hoped it would be. I mean, none of this is a surprise, of course, because two factors. Number one, Hamas are a jihadi organization. They're not renowned for their agreement-keeping capabilities. And the second thing is, of course, we're in the Middle East, where most of the negotiation seems to happen right at the very last minute. Even last night, there was a strong insistence by our Prime Minister, and Hamas folded on their last-minute demand to change the deployment of IDF forces in the Philadelphia corridor, so crucial to stop weapons smuggling. But there are also other items which it seems this morning have not been finalized or Hamas are walking away from. I make clear that the Prime Minister and the government...
David, I just want to get more clarity from you when you say, because of course this entire thing doesn't kick in till Sunday, and there are multiple phases. Have Hamas sent a message via the negotiators to Israel to say we're not agreeing to these certain things? Because, of course, despite what you're saying about Hamas, the Americans are there. Steve Witkoff, Brett McGurk, the Biden administration envoy, as well as the Trump administration envoy, they were in the room last night in Doha with the Qatari Prime Minister, putting pressure on Hamas to ensure that they agreed to all of the different elements of this deal. And it is complicated, and Israel does want its hostages to come home. What has happened, though, in the last few minutes which makes Israel believe that they are going to breach this agreement when it hasn't actually kicked in? Have they sent a message to Israel to say we're not agreeing to certain things?
So, Yalda, we won't be negotiating on air. What I can tell you is that the Israeli government wants this deal to be finalized, but only a finalized deal, which is agreed to on all sides, can be brought to Israel's cabinet. It cannot be a deal which is correct in some places and not in others. So what our Prime Minister has this morning, our office has this morning said, is that there has been a walking away from certain aspects of this agreement to free our hostages, which was agreed to previously, but now Hamas have walked away. Now, we want to get clarity on this situation.
Are they walking away from releasing the hostages? And was this message conveyed to you by the Qataris or the Americans?
I won't be sharing any of the details on air with you right now, but the Prime Minister's, our office statement has said that there remains disagreement. Some things which we thought were agreed have been changed. And until the agreement is finalized, again, with this jihadi organization, not famous for making agreements, plus we're in the Middle East, where in the last minute people try to get the best deal for themselves. This deal cannot be brought to Israel's cabinet to vote on until it is finalized.
So there was a deal that was put on President-elect Donald Trump's table, and he was told last night that the deal has been agreed to by all sides. He then issued a statement to say the hostages will be coming home, that this is an epic deal. Was he premature and wrong to do that?
So none of this is surprising to us because we're dealing with Hamas, which is a jihadi organization. It's not talking about the Bank of England and making an agreement with the Bank of England, who hopefully you can rely on. This is a jihadi organization. We want this deal to succeed. But if parts of the deal are being changed at the last, even past the last moment, then it cannot be brought to the Israeli government cabinet to vote on until everything is agreed and buttoned down.
And just briefly, David, because I know you have to go, but there is also division within the Israeli cabinet. The likes of the National Security Minister boasting, Ben-Gvir, that he has, put spanners in the works in previous deals and he doesn't want this deal to go through. Is that what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is also dealing with?
So we're a democracy with free speech. Everyone can make their opinion clear. But ultimately, what a democracy means is that the majority rule goes. We believe there's a majority in the country, and we are confident that there's a majority in this cabinet as well as in the government for this agreement to move forward. But it must be buttoned down, and there must not be Hamas changing parts of the agreement even after it has been agreed. Once the agreement is agreed, we can bring it to our cabinet for agreement. That's what Israel's government wants, but last-minute changes are simply not acceptable. So we're buttoning down any last-minute issues to bring it to our government where the majority rule will prevail.
David, thank you so much for joining us again so quickly on the programme to provide some clarity. And we know that you'll be holding a press conference in a few hours' time. Thanks very much for joining.